James Franklin is finally out at Penn State. Plus, Indiana is probably the best team in college football. Plus, some more crazy games this weekend. We talk about that and more on the Locked On Big Ten Squad.
You're talking ball with the Big Ten Squad, sponsored by Gametime. From USC to Ohio State, from Michigan to Oregon, from Nebraska to Washington, it's the local experts of the Locked On Podcast Network bringing you scoops, breakdowns, and the most comprehensive preview of the upcoming Big Ten weekend. No hurt feelings and thin skin allowed. Squad up, you're part of the Big Ten Squad.
This is the Locked On Big Ten Squad. I'm not Spencer McLaughlin. I am proudly Jacob Goins, the host of Locked On Hoosiers, who are, in fact, the best college football team in the nation. And as promised, I am your host this week on the Big Ten Squad. I am Jacob Goins of Locked On Hoosiers. Zach Sako, Locked On Nittany Lions, who somehow is more popular than I am this week. Spencer McLaughlin of college football or Ducks. Which one would you like to be? I would love for you to be of Locked On Ducks today.
I am all things. I am the Senate. That is my official title this week.
That is
a great start tonight.
I am the Senate.
God, we really let him say that. Zach Anderson, Yoxheimer, Locked On UCLA. Jay Stevens, Locked On Buckeyes, and Roman Tomashoff of Locked On Huskies. We got a great squad for you and a great show today. We'll make picks for Week 8.
And that's our show. We're done for the day.
We'll also talk about
I
Indiana.
got a lot to say. No, we're not.
I am hosting. Can I please? I don't host very often, Spencer. I need you to stop for just a second, because we are going to talk about Oregon losing and being, frauds. We'll get to that in a little bit. But the biggest story in the country, I guess, is James Franklin no longer the head coach at Penn State. The Nittany Lions finally did it, Seiko. They told him to kick rocks and get out of town, and it only took, $50+ million to do it.
Yeah, $50 million, and that's not going to be final, right, if James Franklin takes another job, but that is at least what Penn State is prepared to do, just to have him never coach another football game for Penn State. And you don't make that move lightly. It means that Penn State's swinging for the fences. They're trying to hit a home run. The athletic director, Pat Kraft, comes out on Monday's weekly press conference where James Franklin's supposed to be and says, we are trying to win national titles. And we believe that we need leadership to get us to that point. Look, Penn State was. See, here's the thing. Here's kind of the dichotomy of it all now. With and I'll keep it brief because I want to hear everyone else's feedback. But people don't, and I'm eager to hear what you guys have to say, because people on the outside don't view Penn State as a top tier job. That this is a place that can win national titles with the right coaching staff, with the resources, the alignment, that James Franklin got Penn State to where it is, and Penn State should be grateful. Those are the same national media pundits and national columnists that said that, Penn State can't win the big game. They're only going to be 10-2, but not because of that guy. It's actually because of Penn State. So this is really strange to me. So if Penn State aces the coaching hire, they will absolutely be a national title contender year in and year out. But that's a big if. That is a big if. But they can do it. It's a matter of if they will.
Spencer, I'll let you speak to this from your college football perspective, because you'll talk more in the Oregon perspective here momentarily.
Yeah, I think that it's really indicative of the big game narrative did weigh on the Penn State athletic department over time, that they made this move. Because when you have as much win equity as Penn State has under James Franklin, you'd think that one bad season would be allowed. But clearly they felt what I felt coming into this year, which is, you should expect to make the national championship game, and there's no excuse to not do that.
Playoff.
At least the playoff, to not have that be an option going forward, that's all just full-fledged disaster. But when you're willing to pay that much money to make someone go away, you really have had enough. For example, we get paid on the last Tuesday of every month, and when that happens, I would give that check away if it meant that Goins never graced my screen again.
Zach Anderson, Yoxheimer of Locked On UCLA. Speaking of teams without a head coach, you're being blamed.
Yeah, Zach, look what you've done.
This is Zach on Zach crime. This is not okay.
Both of you did this.
Squad. Yoxheimer,
I mean,
What's
aren't
up,
we
my
on
man?
pace for like every Zach on the Locked On Network to have like no coach? Like we might get there. We might get there at
That's
this
a
point.
possibility. I mean, you're the reason James Franklin got fired, or one of the reasons that James Franklin got fired. Do you take pride in that? Is UCLA like raising the banner here?
I mean, now it's not even the biggest win on the schedule. They might go to Indiana later this year and have some fun.
Okay.
But all joking
right.
and fun aside, the Penn State game just kind of came out of nowhere. They couldn't score anything. There was no hope. They had a game plan implemented 2 days before, basically offensively, and they came out and pummeled Penn State with 40-plus points. It's as ridiculous of a turnaround as I've seen for Penn State, from top 5 in a whiteout game to just completely out of the head coach and out of the playoff entirely. That's just something I've never really seen before in college football, other than the main hype machine just already hyping teams up. Penn State's pretty crazy for this.
Zach, I do have to ask you one quick question, though. Were there more points scored in that game or fans in the stands?
There were fans. There was some energy. I will say there were a lot of fans watching my beatdown loss at the Rally Cry Championship Tour on EA College Football 26. So, but
Fair enough.
there might be more fans this week.
Are we ready to have the UCLA to the Big Ten championship game discussion? Because they control their own destiny to get there.
I mean, the biggest turnaround in season in college football history is still on the table out in Los Angeles. Jay Stevens of Locked On Buckeyes, I know better than to ask if you're celebrating James Franklin being fired, because him remaining the coach at Penn State would have been the best thing for Ohio State, because you guys hammered him every single time.
Yeah, I wouldn't say hammered. I wouldn't go and say hammered. We won.
Thank you. That was
There were
nice.
some times that it was a little battle. There was a game, I think in 2022 in Happy Valley, where Ohio State was actually down quite a bit, and the Buckeyes came back and won that one pretty convincingly. Tui Maloa went off in that game. Seiko probably remembers all those plays very well.
Tell you about all of them. Which one? Pick one. 2017, 2018.
Listen to the pain in that man's voice.
He is beaten down, man. Oh,
20,
no.
20 let me tell you about 2016, though.
That's what we're hanging on to, is 2016. Okay,
And that's just it. So they were 0-16 in all of those big game moments since 2017. James Franklin had not won a big game since 2017. SMU, Boise State, okay, fine, except for those two. Ohio State, Michigan, Notre Dame, Oregon, winless.
So, Jay, are Ohio State fans okay? Are they nervous about who Penn State could go
Brian
after?
Hartline.
What's the feeling in Columbus?
Brian Hartline.
I think they'd only get nervous if they went after Brian Hartline. If they bring in Matt Rule or Matt Campbell or Kenny Dillingham and any of those coaches, I think they'd be okay. They wouldn't really be worried. If they promoted Jim Knowles, I don't think anybody in Columbus would be worried about that at all, because Knowles is nowhere close to being the recruiter that James Franklin was. And I think that's one of the interesting things with all of this, that James Franklin was a really good recruiter, and you're firing a coach in the middle of the season where, yes, things are really, really bad, but Ohio State's going to pull some of those recruits to Columbus in the 26 and 27 classes. And so for Penn State, yeah, you got a coach out of there, but Seiko might be trying to figure out who's going to be signing with Penn State in December, because they don't know who the coach is going to be.
Transfer portal.
I mean, transfer
This
portal
would be
is a thing.
Would be a big deal 5 years ago. I get your point. I don't like it, but I'd rather the players on the team not head into the transfer portal, than worry about prospects from the 2027 class.
Yeah.
Roman Tomashoff of Locked On Huskies, you somehow always end up being last in this rotation on the Locked On.
This one is
Big Ten
Spencer's fault. We can say that with 100% certainty. That
You guys
Spencer
did move. You did, in fact. I missed the movement there. My bad. I have no control here. I am the host, but I have no actual control. Latest I heard is that Jed Fish is on his way to Penn State, so I'm sure you're cool with that.
That's crazy. I heard the same thing about Kurt Signetti. It's wild.
No, that has no traction on the
Conflicting
internet
reports
whatsoever. That is
They're actually
not
going together.
Yeah, Jed's going to be the OC, and Signetti's going to be the head coach.
Yeah, I like that. Roman, your thoughts on James Franklin being canned by Penn State?
Since Spencer is just telling everyone when we get paid, apparently, I'm going to give us another, peek behind the scenes here with the four-man squad that we had last week. So the Zach's excluded from this. We were, sitting backstage like, oh, hey, are we going to have time to pick all these games? Like, we said, do we need to pick Penn State Northwestern? And we all kind of laughed it off. I think Jacob said, oh, maybe I'll pick Northwestern. And just seeing how that all went down and the conversation that we had after that is all, really funny for all our everydayers who watch all that sort of stuff. No, it was time. Losing to Northwestern with this roster that Zach talked about all summer on this show, saying this is the plan. The plan is to get to the Big Ten championship. The plan is to get to the playoff and get to the national championship and get over the hump. And the fact that that didn't happen is legitimately embarrassing for how much he's getting paid, for especially, with the buyout. It did make sense. And I was one of the people who last week said, oh, you can give him a little bit more of a leash. He's earned that with his overall record. No, with the way this has gone, plus I really didn't realize it had been since 2017, since he had won a legitimate big game. That's absolutely insane. And with the way things have gone recently and just continued to spiral downhill, it was time for this.
Can I, before we go to the next segment, can I just make one observation?
Go ahead. Stall a little bit longer. Go ahead. That's fine.
Jay Stevens is like the nicest guy in this squad by a country mile. He gets set up to throw jabs at someone, and he's just, no, man, I don't think so. Meanwhile, Goins and I hate each other only when we're on the air together. I swear we're friends when we're off. Yeah. Zach would throw a shot at Anderson Yoxheimer, would throw a shot at Nick Saban if it meant that it was good content. Roman and I are biologically inclined to not like each other at some level. Oregon's coach helped get Seiko's coach fired, and Jay's just down there like, my team's number one in the country. I'm good.
Why Jacob in the open said Indiana is probably the number one team in the country. Didn't say they definitely are, because everybody here knows Ohio State is definitely the best team in the country.
What a great transition, Jay Stevens. We're going to talk about that right after this, because I think Indiana is the best team in the country. That's coming up next here on the Locked On Big Ten Squad. Today's episode of the Locked On Big Ten Squad is brought to you by SupplyHouse. When the opening whistle blows on a new repair, get your crew moving forward with SupplyHouse. Order today and see parts on your doorstep tomorrow. Over 280,000 plumbing, HVAC, and electrical items from the most trusted brands in the business. Their real-time inventory and honest lead times keep you from punting on projects, while their industry-leading customer service always has your blind side covered. If you need parts fast for a project, SupplyHouse has next day delivery. Talk about a game changer. And the part finder tools and 3D schematics can save you hours on jobs where every detail matters. Join the free Trade Master program today and score serious perks like priority shipping, lower prices, and a dedicated support line. Visit supplyhouse.com to sign up for free and use the promo code SHCollege5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. Real people, real service. Today's episode of the Locked On Big Ten Squad is brought to you by FanDuel. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel has an offer you don't want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Thursday Night Football coming up. If you're watching or listening to this on the day it comes out, you can jump on that. A full slate of college football on Saturday, and of course, the NFL Sunday and Monday night as well. Pick a player, pick a team, pick a bunch of them, put them all together, and do it on FanDuel. You'll be glad that you did. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com right now to download the FanDuel app today and get started. Welcome back into the Locked On Big Ten Squad. We've got a packed house this week, and for obvious reasons. It's because you all wanted to talk about the Indiana Hoosiers, which unfortunately is the second biggest story in college football. James Franklin and Penn State decided to take center stage, but that's okay because now we get to talk Indiana defeating the Oregon Ducks. And I just want to remind people that nobody said it could happen. Nobody said Indiana could do it. They were going to get destroyed is what I was told on the internet last week, ladies and gentlemen, but Kurt Signetti and the
You
Hoosiers
picked them to lose.
And you're right, I did. And Kurt Signetti even proved me wrong. Thank you, Roman. I appreciate
You're
you.
welcome.
Yeah, but Roman didn't actually think Indiana was going to win the game. He just can't go on the record and pick Oregon to beat anybody.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Roman picked Indiana.
By Roman.
And we're going to start with Roman to go against the squad, go against the trend. You picked the Indiana Hoosiers last week, Roman, to take down the Ducks, and they did in dominating fashion down the stretch. So tell me why that Indiana's the best team in college football.
I'm not going to go that far because I got to watch Arbel Reese and Caleb Downs and Jeremiah Smith.
I trusted you, Roman. I trusted you.
I think Indiana's the second best team in college football.
Good enough.
I do. But I was so impressed with the defense, especially the defensive line, the way that they were able to get after that Oregon offensive line, which I was told was supposed to be, otherworldly, pun intended there. But nice. I really was, thank you. I was very impressed with what Indiana put together and what Curt Cignetti has done through, how many games has it been for him, Jacob? 20?
Year and a half. Yeah, year and a half.
Somewhere in that ballpark.
James Franklin's fired.
Yeah.
Because of guys like Curt Cignetti.
Truly, that the fact that he can turn around that program that quickly is so impressive. And it's been so much fun to watch.
Let's bounce around here, Spencer. I'm going to let you hold on for just a little bit longer. Zach Anderson, Yoxheimer, you got to watch this.
That's fine. You can leave me here all segment. I don't really care.
You got to watch this from the outside looking in. An Indiana UCLA play coming up in just a couple of weeks. I mean, how impressed were you by Indiana's win on the road in Eugene, where you'll remember the stats for just the second time ever in the Dan Lanning era that a team walks into Autzen Stadium and gets a win?
I mean, this wasn't even a fluky win. This was, I'm not going to say domination, but this was a win, and a definitive win at that. So it was pretty shocking to see a team go into Autzen. Not even Ohio State did that last year, the first time they played Oregon. So it was a big win for Curt Cignetti. Of course, UCLA already knows what it's like to see an Indiana team come to their home and dominate them. We'll see if they get revenge in a couple weeks there, Jacob. But Indiana is for real, and it's one of the more stunning turnarounds I've seen for a program that's a basketball school to turn into a football powerhouse in a year and a half.
Jay Stevens of Locked On Buckeyes, I know your answer here. You're going to take Ohio State as the number one team, and there's an argument for it, but can you at least admit that Indiana is getting closer to the Buckeyes in terms of talent across the board?
Yeah, I'll go that far. I'll be nice this one time and agree with that. I was shocked, Spencer. I'm going to throw this back at you. I'm trying to be nice. But the fans inside Autzen Stadium were too quiet. Because I remember what happened when Ohio State went there a year ago, and it was loud the entire time. And I turned the game on, went back and forth, got done doing the show after Ohio State's win, and then I turned it on, and I'm like, are they playing in a neutral site? What's going on? Because it wasn't as loud.
Okay. Hold up. Gerald. Is that your full name? Gerald? Gerald?
No. Gosh, no, Gerald.
No. Sorry. I have another buddy who's Jay, and his full name is Gerald. Sorry.
How do you go that?
What?
I have another friend. His name is Jay. His full name is Gerald. The first time he sent me an email, and it was from his official work email, and it was from Gerald, I was so confused. I'm like, who in the world is...
That's like a guy named Richard being named Dick. That just doesn't make any sense.
Okay, I wasn't going there, but all right. So anyway, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. It doesn't make a whole heck of a lot of sense. Jay, were you at the stadium?
No.
You were watching on TV?
Yeah.
And have you ever done a play-by-play broadcast before and tried to work the crowd noise into the broadcast, which is an essential part of any TV play-by-play? Has it ever felt before, like watching on one network versus another network, the crowd can feel a little bit different?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just throwing that out there because I'm going to follow it up with this. Jacob, how many pre-snap penalties did Indiana have on Saturday?
Several. I don't remember the count, but several.
I believe it was 7.
Yeah. But yet,
so I'm just going to stick my neck out and defend the Autzen crowd and say they were not the problem.
Indiana still won.
100%. 100%. But Jay's just coming in here throwing shots at the Autzen crowd. I will not stand for that.
Hey man,
I thought
those
you
were
just
sad
was the
faces in the
nicest
fourth
guy.
quarter.
But I'll say this, Indiana was never afraid. Indiana was never worried about it. I mean, this was just another stadium for Curt Cignetti and the Hoosiers. This didn't affect them at all, Spencer.
Oh, that's what was so impressive about it. Like on a serious note, my joking mannerisms of frustration and sadness aside, like Indiana was a better team on Saturday. They executed better. I don't think either side dominated the other. Indiana had 326 yards of total offense in this game. Jacob, what is that? Well over 200 yards below their season average on a per game basis. This was not Indiana beating the crap out of Illinois and Oregon just getting steamrolled. This was Indiana executed. There were a number of key moments you can go back to in this game, a couple of third downs, a fourth down early in the game, field goals, end of half, just a bunch of small moments that added up, and then Indiana was just better in those particular moments. And it was the Hoosier defense that won the game. I'm not trying to tell you Fernando Mendoza was horrible or that he's bad. he and the Oregon defense combined to team up for 7 of Oregon's 20 points in this particular game, and he threw for 215 yards. He did all he needed to, but it's not like he went in there and just torched Oregon secondary. I thought the defense for the Ducks actually played very well in this game. It was the Indiana defense that went out and won it. Their scheme and execution was incredibly good all game long, and they had Dante Moore looking like the 2023 version of himself. He was making one read. He wasn't letting plays develop. He wasn't trusting his reads. He missed a lot of open guys. It was the worst game he played as a Duck, and it was about the way Indiana chose to come out with their game plan. They executed it very well.
And Indiana looked so good on the road in this game in front of a national audience that Zach Seiko of Locked On Nittany Lions, Curt Cignetti is apparently the leading candidate, or one of, to be the next head coach in Happy Valley.
I mean, it's very safe to say, and I've said this before, that Curt Cignetti was easily in the top 10 in terms of coaches. I won't let one game against Notre Dame define him. He's a top 5 coach in all of college football right now, and that's why Penn State's he's gonna be the first phone call that Penn State's going to make to gauge some interest here. As far as the Indiana-Oregon game goes, yeah, I was shocked that Oregon didn't move the football as efficiently. Again, maybe that's because I watched them go against Penn State. That's not as good of a team. So seeing it, having a firsthand point of view, seeing what Oregon's all about. But Indiana, they're too small up front. Defensively, they're not going to match up with Oregon's speed. Kind of all the different excuses, and it was none of that. And it was Oregon's offense that, like I said, Spencer's going to point it out that Dante Moore didn't look his best. The offense wasn't moving the football as well. Indiana's defensive line kept winning more battles than they were projected to. So, yeah, that's a testament to Indiana's defense and the coaching, because this is not a team that is filled with 5 stars and high-end 4 stars. That is a well-coached, efficient team that Curt Cignetti is running.
Yes, Spencer.
Zach, you said Curt Cignetti's the top 5 coach in college football. Can you name 4 coaches you would rather have than him?
I'd like Mike Elko. I mean, I guess I have to, right? I need a head coach, so I like Mike Elko. I mean, Kirby Smart would never leave. Ryan Day would never leave.
Kirby
Marcus
Smart, Ryan Day got to be up there.
I think Dan Lanning is still in that conversation.
Dan Lanning.
100%. But he just got out-coached by Curt Cignetti. And, and by the way, I think my tone is projecting something negative here. I'm saying, why is Curt Cignetti outside of number 3? Marcus Freeman at Notre Dame, maybe, but Cignetti's never lost to Marshall.
Yeah.
Or Northern Illinois.
Or Northern Illinois. Or Stanford. Cignetti's winning at Indiana, for goodness sake.
Yeah, or losing to teams like UCLA. I mean, God.
Yeah.
Hey, Tim Skipper should be on that list, too.
I'm sorry, did you say Neuheisel? Is that what you said?
He's the head
Tim
coach.
Skipper and Neuheisel together, package deal.
I was going to say, it's a package. That's a package deal, man. They're
what a tandem. By the way, how about UCLA being a Northwestern victory away from being unbeaten in Big Ten play right now?
That's disgusting. That's really gross. Speaking of UCLA and other teams around the Big Ten, we have a lot of games to pick this week. We're going to have to rapid fire these, but we'll do that coming up next here on the Locked On Big Ten Squad. This episode of the Locked On Big Ten Squad is brought to you by Mazda. Mazda crafts cars for those who do more than simply move. Mazda delivers confidence with every ride with more IIHS Top Safety Pick Plus awards than anyone else. From footwork to breathwork, athletes sweat all the details. Mazda brings this same intention to how we craft every model. You can feel Japanese craftsmanship in every detail, from the metallic accents to available Napa leather upholstery. And with all-wheel drive standard in every crossover SUV, you can drive with confidence through almost any season. So, like our players, we sweat every detail, because when you make every move count, impossible becomes irrelevant. Mazda, move and be moved. All right, final segment here on the Locked On Big Ten Squad. And as much as I would like to say there's some games that we could skip on this week's schedule, we probably learned our lesson from last week. Ain't nobody safe around the Big Ten, so we have to rapid fire. We're going.
I disagree. Ohio State is safe. They're playing Wisconsin.
Thank you.
I mean, I don't know.
They are so safe.
That's pretty safe.
They have never been safer in their entire lives. Ohio is going. We're going to look back and say Ohio played the Buckeyes tougher than the Badgers.
There's a reason our buddy Ryan Herrings didn't show up to the Big Ten squad this week, and it's because of this game on the schedule. So I will give you that one, that we don't have to pick that. But rapid fire here, chronological order. Friday night, how about 25th ranked Nebraska on the road at Minnesota, where Nebraska favored by flirting 10 points here, Zach Seiko.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna go with Nebraska to continue, because I'm not sold on Minnesota. I know we got to go quickly, but could Matt Rule be distracted? Right, I guess that's the idea. So I still think Nebraska wins, but don't be surprised on a Friday night home game. That sets up nicely for PJ Fleck, doesn't it?
How about I like Minnesota to keep that one close. Nebraska by a field goal on Friday night at home. And keep this in the back of your mind. That's just weird. Nebraska ranked 25th. The team ahead of them, Cincinnati, who they beat this year. The AP poll, doing great work.
Zach Anderson, Yoxheimer, you're up, my friend.
We're going to go with Nebraska. I think Minnesota might float around, make it a little interesting, but I'm going to go with Nebraska.
Jay?
Minnesota. I'm going to change things up.
Wow. Okay, Roman, 2 in a row for Minnesota, or does Nebraska find
Absolutely
a way to get
not.
it done?
No, I'm not. I'm not sold on PJ Fleck in Minnesota. Give me Nebraska.
I'm not either, but this is a classic Nebraska letdown game, and this is the game once a year that PJ Fleck and Minnesota find a way to win. So I'll take Minnesota to get it done on a Friday night. Roman, we're going to go in reverse order and start with you, because your Huskies make the cross-country trip for a 9 a.m. local time kick against Michigan. Is that right? 9 a.m. in the Big House. Can they get it done?
Unfortunately, yeah, 9 a.m. is not fun for this guy. But I picked Washington to drop this game. My previous predictions, I'm going to stick with that right now. The biggest thing for me is Washington might be down 3 starters in the trenches for the second straight week, with left guard John Mills and left tackle Carver Willis both questionable for this game, as well as outside linebacker Zach Durfee. I think Michigan's defensive line might have a decent day if both those guys on the offensive line are to miss the game.
Jay Stevens, no way you pick Michigan to win this game, right? Washington pulls off the upset here.
Yeah, it's against my religion to pick Michigan to win a game, so I'm going with Washington. Roman, I'm on your side today.
Zach Anderson, Yoxheimer, you're watching this one from the outside. Washington, Michigan, Wolverines favored by almost a touchdown.
I mean, I just saw a West Coast team go and dominate a team in Michigan. It wasn't Michigan. It was Michigan State. Let's go with Washington. They let me down before, but let's go with the Huskies.
Spencer?
Michigan by 60.
Yeah.
Wow, wonder why. Say
Shocker.
Yeah, not 60, but definitely by a wide margin, especially with what Roman just shared with us.
Yeah, I appreciate Roman sharing that info, because I like Washington as the better team in this game, but if they're going to be down that many dudes, I'll pick Michigan to win in a disgusting game. Apparently a team that's good. Northwestern's 4-2 for anybody that hasn't checked as of late, and has a winning record in the Big Ten at 2-1. They host Purdue. Yes, thank you. They host Purdue, who is 0-3 in the Big Ten. Seiko, will go back to you. Anyway, Purdue goes on the road in a hostile environment. I mean, it's a tough place to play. Can they get their first Big Ten win on the season?
So Northwestern, I mean, they actually are pretty sound defensively. And I mean, I've seen it in person. Northwestern's not a terrible ball club, but I actually kind of like Purdue to maybe pull off the upset here, even though it's only a field goal margin. So give me Purdue. But if it does, now here's the thing. I know there might be rain in the forecast. If it does rain, that favors Northwestern. So I have to flip my pick with inclement weather. But Purdue, if all things are sunny and nice.
Spencer, with your college football knowledge and doing a college football show, you might be the only one crazy enough to put this one on TV, Purdue and Northwestern Saturday afternoon.
Oh, I will have it on TV. Don't you worry. It will be on a screen somewhere come Saturday. And give me the Wildcats. I think they win this game comfortably. I love what they do defensively. David Braun has those guys playing really well. Saw it against Oregon earlier this year. Northwestern by at least 10.
Zach Anderson, Yoxheimer, no way you watch this game, right? You guys don't have to worry about Northwestern anymore. That game is way past you, right?
I'm pretty sure that was one of the least watched games in the Big Ten this year, but it might be one of the most defining games in the Big Ten standings. We'll see if that was one of the ones we forget about and actually is the most important. Let's go Purdue, because Northwestern is currently my biggest Big Ten rival, not from the West Coast.
Jay?
Northwestern by 10.
Roman?
Spencer made a good point. I like Northwestern's defense.
Clip it and ship it. I'll get it to you after the show, Spencer. You can,
No, don't worry. I have access to all this stuff. I got it.
We said we're skipping Ohio State, Wisconsin. Let's go rapid fire here. Indiana's going to beat Michigan State by how many this weekend? I think they win by 1 million. Seiko?
I could see Michigan State getting the backdoor cover because Indiana is gonna, rest some starters in the fourth quarter. So why not? That's a lot of points. Michigan State to cover.
Keep it going, Spencer.
Hoosiers by 25.
Love it. Zach?
Indiana by a bunch.
Keep it going. Jay and Roman.
Indiana. This is easy.
Yeah, by a very wide margin.
Can we agree that let me go to Spencer here, and he can answer for the group. Is Oregon in trouble? Are you on upset alert in Rutgers? Weird game time, Big Ten Network in New Jersey coming off the emotional loss. Is Oregon in trouble, or can we just move on?
I would not want to be Rutgers this week. I really wouldn't.
I think that's safe to say. So I think we all pick Oregon in that game. Roman, I know
I'm not allowed to, but
Yeah.
also, hey, I was really impressed with Ethan Kalik-Manis. I got to watch him last Friday night in person. That dude made some really nice tight window throws. Super impressed.
Dude's a
So,
dude. Yeah.
Dude is a dude. Rutgers pulls it off, according to Roman Tomashoff. Zach Seiko, Penn State, I mean, is this like the comeback story that they're looking for going on the road to Iowa? The total in this game has actually gone up, if you can believe it, from 39.5 to 40.5.
Oh,
Disgusting football will be played
gross.
Saturday night in Iowa City.
Here's what we're going to find out, and I haven't even gotten to the Penn State-Iowa storylines. We are going to find out how much control James Franklin had over both the offense and the defense, because I'm kind of loosely expecting that we might see more of a vintage Andy Kotelnicki offense, if you will, going back to Kansas days. He has total control. He doesn't have to really answer to anybody anymore. So maybe that's why you're seeing the points go up, because he has a quarterback that's actually a little more aligned with the system. I can't go to say that they're going to win in Kinnick, but I think Penn State's this is going to be a close game that is truly a toss-up, but I will go Iowa.
Is anybody picking Penn State in this game? Spencer, you're
Right
picking
here.
Penn State
I
here.
appreciate that.
Okay.
Right
wow.
here.
Good
You're
for
welcome.
you. Okay.
You're welcome, Seiko. This is one of those games. This is Penn State's version of Jerry Neuheisel taking over. You've got an interim head coach. You've got a quarterback nobody knows. I mean, we knew more about Nico, but a quarterback nobody's got any film on. I think Penn State is in full, screw it. We'll do it live. We'll do it live.
Do it live.
That's what they're doing. Penn State beats Iowa and Kinnick.
Zach Anderson Yoxheimer, you're the host of Locked On UCLA, and the Bruins have another home game where Maryland comes to town to what should be just a packed-out Rose Bowl Saturday night. I think it's a fun game, but are you worried about this one? Can UCLA pull off what is not considered an upset with our friends at FanDuel?
Yeah, they're actually favored. And just a fun shout out, UCLA is wearing the throwback unis, the beautiful throwback
Oh,
ones.
those are sick.
Oh, UCLA by 30. 30 points.
Yeah. Is that the
Absolutely.
feeling in Los Angeles that UCLA wins by 1 million because of that?
Probably 15, but I'll take UCLA to win the game and look good doing it.
I like your humbleness there, sir. Let's move on to the last game of the Big Ten slate. It's USC, who's ranked 20th in the country, on the road at Notre Dame Saturday night. Rapid fire here. Zach Seiko, we start with you on the way out.
Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame is they're just better, but that's going to be a lot of points. A lot of points in that game.
Spencer?
I think USC keeps this close. I think this is kind of a 3 to 5 point game because I like the way that USC ran the ball, even with Waymon Jordan getting dinged up back there. But Jade Mayava is playing good football. I like CJ Carr a lot. This is not Bryce Underwood, the USC defense going up against. I'll take Notre Dame at home, but USC covers 8.5 points.
Zach, I assume you're not allowed to pick USC. Is that how this works?
Notre Dame!
Jay Stevens of Locked On Buckeyes.
Notre Dame's got this one.
Roman?
Notre Dame.
The fact that Notre Dame's favored by 8.5 is a little fishy to me.
I know it is fishy.
I'm going to pick USC to get it done for no particular reason other than I want to. I'm Jacob Goins of Locked On Hoosiers, Zach Seiko of Locked On Nittany Lions, Spencer McLaughlin of Locked On Ducks. Thank you for being here, sir. I appreciate
You're
your
welcome.
service to the squad. Zach Anderson, Yoxheimer of Locked On UCLA, Jay Stevens of Locked On Buckeyes, Roman Tomashoff of Locked On Huskies, and until next time, Big Ten fans, stay safe, and we'll talk to you later.
I'm just here so I won't get fined.